Hello everyone. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, and let us begin with prayer. Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. The Passion according to the Gospel of Matthew. From noon onward, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? Some of the bystanders who heard it said, This one is calling for Elijah. Immediately, one of them ran to get a sponge. He soaked it in wine, and putting it on a reed, gave it to him to drink. But the rest said, Wait, let us see if Elijah comes to save him. But Jesus cried out again in a loud voice, and gave up his spirit. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. St. Gemma Galgani, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. For Teus Do Now, I'd like you again to write a private comment, but on today's Saint of the Day. Make sure that you do this because it will be part of the grade for this assignment. If it's missing, your grade will be less on Saint of the Day. I'm going to play a song with some videos covering the camera. And while you're listening to the song, I'd like you to write one good sentence summarizing what moved you in the lyrics of the song. If any of the pictures also move you, I'd like you to write about that. Listen to the words of the song and reflect on Jesus' passion. Is there something that you haven't thought of before after listening to this song and seeing these pictures?
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Whoa, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? And were you there when they laid his precious body in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble. I tremble. And were you there when they laid him in the tomb? But were you there when he rose from the grave? Were you there when my Jesus rose from the grave? Oh, sometimes it makes me want to shout, and I cry, yeah, and I begin to tremble. I tremble. from the grave.
For today's notes, please write notes April 7th into your notebook. I'd like to focus on the homework we did last night, on the times that Jesus prays. And as evident from the crossword, Jesus prayed a lot, but most often in the Gospel of Luke. If we are to model our life on Jesus, it is important that we look to what is recorded from his life regarding something he asked us to do: pray. I am joining you today from the shore at the Sea of Galilee. This would have been very near to where Jesus grew up. And so it would be important for us to talk about prayer in an area familiar to Jesus. An American pastor, R.A. Torrey, observed that Jesus prayed early in the morning as well as at night, that he prayed before and after important events in his life, and that he prayed when life was unusually busy for him, like being nailed to a cross. Regarding the way Jesus prayed, we saw that Jesus prayed after his baptism in the Gospel of Luke. He prayed before going out to preach, which was what he determined his purpose in life to be. He prayed after healing the man with leprosy. He prayed on a mountain late at night before selecting his disciples, and on a mountain as well he prayed during the storm while the disciples were stuck at sea. Jesus prayed over the children whom the disciples tried to keep away from him. And he prayed in solitude before Peter's great confession to him that Jesus is the Christ. He prays right before the transfiguration when Moses and Elijah appear at his side. His prayer inspires the disciples to ask him to teach them how to pray, at which point Jesus teaches them the Our Father. He prayed during the Last Supper and led a hymn with the disciples before going up to the Mount of Olives, where he probably made his most memorable prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane. For the second part of today's notes, I'd like to show you a video about Saint Gemma. Write down the following questions before I play our next video. The questions are, number 1, what was Gemma ridiculed for in her youth? Question number 2, what similarity does Gemma have to Saint Louise de Marillac, our saint from a couple weeks ago? Number 3, what day of the week did the stigmata appear on Saint Gemma regularly? Number 4, what disease finally killed Gemma? And number 5, which pope canonized Gemma? I will now play the video, and please answer these questions.
Saint Gemma Galgani, also known as the Flower of Lucca, was an Italian mystic born on March 12, 1878. At a very young age, Gemma developed a love for prayer. Throughout her life, she had mystical experiences and special graces. They were often misunderstood and ridiculed by others. Gemma loved the poor greatly and helped them in any way she could. After her father's death, 19-year-old Gemma became the mother figure for her 7 brothers and sisters. She wished to become a nun, but her poor health prevented her from being accepted. On June 8, 1899, Gemma felt an internal warning that some unusual grace was to be granted to her. She felt pain and blood coming from her hands, feet, and heart. These were the marks of the stigmata. Each Thursday evening, Gemma would fall into rapture and the marks would appear. They remained until the following Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. When the bleeding stopped, the wounds closed and only white marks remained in their place. Gemma's stigmata continued until she prayed for them to stop due to her declining health. Gemma then went to live where she was allowed more freedom for her spiritual life than she was at home. She was frequently found in a state of ecstasy, and on one occasion, she was believed to have levitated. During apostolic investigations into her life, all witnesses testified that there were no artfulness in Gemma's manner. In January of 1903, Gemma was diagnosed with tuberculosis. At the start of Holy Week in 1903, Gemma began suffering greatly. She died at age 25 on Holy Saturday, April 11th. Saint Gemma Galgani was beatified in 1933 by Pope Pius XI and canonized in 1940, only 37 years after her death by Pope Pius XII. She is the patron saint against temptations, the death appearance of students, of pharmacists, and against tuberculosis. Her feast day is celebrated on April 11th.
To conclude today's notes, I'd like to comment on the black outfit you see Gemma wearing throughout the video. This black outfit symbolized her relationship with a religious order called the Passionists. You see the little emblem on her shirt, or on her cloak. It was after praying to a Passionist saint that Gemma was temporarily healed. She had originally wanted to become a nun in the Passionist order. When I lived in San Francisco, the priest who lived in our house, he was a Passionist, and so he would talk about different Passionist saints, or saints who were part of the Passionist story, and Saint Gemma is one of them. I will give you the rest of the class to work on your Saint of the Day, and make sure that you follow my new instructions for Saint of the Day, and that you include the do now in today's private comment, that the one sentence about the song that we listened to at the beginning of class. Thank you.